Latira was preparing to ship Nova for the departure from the moon Narshada, but she was also waiting for her friend Rimano for returning back to the ship. Rimano was actually on the way back with some of the last supplies that they needed before the departure. Latira wasn't the average pilot herself. She was in fact a Jedi survivor. She had been in hiding for 5 years. Ever since by the end of the Clone Wars, when the Order 66 was issued, every single Jedi had been declared as traitors, and even her own clone troopers tried to kill her. But she managed to escape just barely. But around the same time, her friend, a trustworthy pilot by the name Rimano, was on the planet. He saved her. He took care of her injuries and they left the planet. Ever since then, they couldn't even believe suddenly the troopers would just suddenly turn against the Jedi. But she didn't have to figure out, because at first she had intention to go back to Coruscant to figure out what happened. But he suggested maybe it wasn't a good idea. Ever since then, she became a pilot along with Rimano, and she had to hide her identity as a Jedi. So she always had her lightsaber hidden in the ship. As she was preparing the ship from leaving, she heard that the door opened. "Took you long enough," she said in almost a bit angry tone. "Sorry, Latira. You know the buyers are really difficult these times. It was a little bit hard to figure out to find some of the supplies that we needed. Well, I mean, the Empire is controlling much of this. But, yeah, well, Narshada is one of the few places in the galaxy that the Empire has no foothold. True. But, did you get the things we needed?" For the most part, yes. Alright. So, where should we go next? Well, how about we go to Corellia we need some... I had a friend there that might need some help with some things. Are you sure? I mean, Corellia is in an Empire-controlled world. I mean, we have been there for the past 5 years, and so far no one had even recognized you. Well, yet at least. Well, I mean, I can understand where you're concerned, but let's leave before we have to change our minds. Alright, let's go. So they all decided to leave the planet, the moon. And they all went actually to Corellia, the same planet that Latira was actually from. During this time, on their 5 years together, they had actually got into a lot of problems, but nothing is too bad. They had in fact run into the Empire's control for a few times. Each time when they were in control, when they were in presence of Imperial soldiers, Latira was nervous that some of the troopers may recognize her as a Jedi. But as so far, nothing had happened. After a while, they arrived to Corellia. They were actually greeted by Rimano's friend. They were only helping to transport some things across Corellia for a while. So they decided to stay in Corellia just only for a short time. And as if they were just going on, Latira was always thought to herself, what about the way of the Jedi? There are Jedi survivors out in the galaxy, she knows it for sure. But she had no idea what the things would eventually turn. Because one day when she was just by herself on the street in the capital city of Corellia, when she suddenly ran into someone that she immediately recognized. And that person was another Jedi by the name Kirsha. Kirsha, is that really you? Latira, is that you? I thought you were dead. I couldn't believe it. Well, let's go somewhere else to talk. Can you wait here for a moment? I'm actually with some other people. Okay. Kirsha went off, and then just only a moment later, she returned with two other people. Two that she immediately recognized. That was a female Jedi Knight named Limari and a male Jedi named Trakol. Trakol? Limari? You too? Kirsha, Limari, and Trakol was actually close friends of Latira back in the Order. She took them back to her ship Nova. How is it possible that you have survived? I mean, I thought most of our friends back in the Order was killed. Yeah, same here. How about you able to survive? I mean, well, I actually have been on the run of myself for the past 5 years. The clones tried to kill me, but a friend of mine, a pilot, saved me, and we have been traveling around ever since. What about you, Free? How did you even survive? Well, we were actually on the same planet at the same time, and we were actually we were assigned a troop of clones as a team, and as out of the blue, the Order 66 was issued, and they targeted us and declared us traitors. We were confused, said Limari. Yeah, that's understandable, said Dracul. I mean, we served with them for a couple of years, and now there's somebody want to kill us, said Dracul almost angrily. I hear you on that, also, said Latira. But have you encountered any other survivors ever since? No, we haven't. We have always been on the run, or at least on a constant movement. I mean, we have run into a few troopers on the time, but I don't know. I actually don't believe those were clones, said Latira. What do you mean? Said Limari. I actually heard that they had replaced most of the troopers with just regular humans, not troop clones. Is that so? Said Dracul. That might make sense why some of the clones that were troopers never recognized us. Well, I mean, it's just not like we are dressed as a Jedi anymore. Do you still have your lightsabers? Yes, but we make sure that they are hidden in our package. But how do you travel from world to world? I mean, it's not average that you just simply take your average transport over those the general public do. No. Um, we actually managed to buy, at least, well, we took one of a ship from the troopers that we had, but we had to, I mean, it's not like we traveling around in a stolen Republic or now in an Imperial shuttle, so we had to sell it somewhere, and for those money, we actually managed to buy another ship. And so for 5 years, we have traveled around, stayed from places for a short time, and do some work in order to survive, said Dracul. Yeah, but you have no idea how hard life that had been, said Kirsha. Yeah, that is true, said Lemari. I mean, sometimes I just wish that we can just go back to Coruscant and just return back to the Order. You know, even back when I was saved by Rimano, I wanted to just go back to Coruscant to figure out what was happening, but he stopped me. Really? Well, not only that he saved you on the planet, but also saved your life for twice, because we heard that if anyone returned, they would have been executed. How many survivors do you think there are out there? Said Limari. Beats me. Again, there'll only be a handful of survivors. Who knows? Maybe 12, or maybe we are the last ones. I doubt it, said Kirsha. I mean, some of the Jedi Masters might have survived in hiding. But there is one thing I probably should mention to you all. What is... Have any of you ever encountered or at least heard about these Inquisitors? Yeah, actually I've heard about those, but never encountered them. Good luck for that, and good thing too, said Latira. And what's that? asked Limari. Those are actually former Jedi who turned to the dark side to serve the Empire as Jedi hunters. If they found you, they probably would have either forced you to turn to the dark side or been executed. That made both Kirsha and Limari pale as ghosts. Are you for real? Said Dracul. That she is. All of them turned around and saw a man. Rimano, you're back. This is the Rimano? Rimano you told about? Said Dracul, almost nervous. Yeah, don't worry, he won't even betray you guys. So, assuming those three are survivors, like myself, yeah, that's true. But why are you not... Why did you just go back to your own ship? She asked her friends. About that, we don't have a ship anymore. Why? Well, let's say there were some problems. Let me guess, the Empire took it? Not quite. We actually, didn't have any money left to, get the supplies that we needed, like fuel. We tried to get some enough jobs to be able to pay to buy some fuel, but eventually we couldn't. Are there any worlds that you want to go to? We can probably take you there. Are you sure? Yeah, I mean, if Rimano thinks this is a good idea, I don't think that it's not a problem with that. So, which world are you going to? Kashyyyk? Alderaan? We're actually going to a different world that probably you don't even heard of. We actually did heard. We actually came across at least one other survivor not long ago. Really? Yes, he actually gave us coordinates for a world. That's a safe haven. A safe haven? Yes, he actually told us this particular world is claimed to be safe from the Empire. And it's actually supposed to be like a new restart for the Order. We actually heard more about this from other people, pilots, rumors about this. But also based on this, what this other survivor we encountered, he told us this world has a lot of Padawans, masters, knights that have survived. So where is this planet? Well, that's the thing. We will not know. What? He told you there's a world, a safe haven, and you really don't know? Well, I mean, he gave us coordinates, but without a ship, we weren't unable to track down exact location, but, let me see. Do you have the desk or something? Yeah, here. Rimano actually went to the computer console, and only about a moment later, huh, that's... Oh. Okay, let's see, okay, there we got it. Oh. Oh. Where is it? Is there an Imperial world? Not at all. In fact, this world is not even mapped on any other charts. It is in this particular region. In which region is it exactly, though? Is it somewhere in another rim? No, actually, in wild space. All of them look at each other. Wow, in the wild space? Are you sure? Positive. Well, that's at least what the map says. But like I said, this map has not even been mapped before. Maybe it was found by some Jedi's and decided to keep it for on the record. You know, perhaps it's a safe haven for something, or potential world for, you know, a temple or outpost or something. I mean, can't you just go there? Whoa, 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 whoa. Have you not even heard of the wild space? Uh, just another typical region. A typical region? Not really. Most of the wild space hasn't even been charted yet. What? Half. Presumably at least half of the wild space has been mapped, but other half has not even been explored. So unexplored region, part of that galaxy or that region, could be in a lot of dangers. I mean, it's better than that than being, like, um, I know, the unknown regions. That would make sense. But based on this data, it will take us at least about a week to get there. Assumedly, if we don't encounter any, other dangers on the way. But yeah, we can take you there. Latira? Yeah. Tell your friend that we have some um, other things we have to take care of. Got it. And we have a lot of credits and a lot of fuels and supplies, and I don't see no reason for why. So Rimano contacted his friend and said that they were leaving Corellia for a while, and that they have another work to do. So they left Corellia. And during the time of traveling to the wild space to this so-called safe haven, Latira wanted to know more of what happened to her friend during this 5 years period. Since she hasn't even really encountered any other survivors, and presumably most of the survivors have been turned to dark side servers or even killed. But she was at least happy to have encountered three other survivors, especially close friends. Even Rimano himself was actually a little bit happy to see that now she wasn't the only one. But during this travel, Limari asked, Latira, yeah? Did you did you notice that Rimano is actually in love with you? Wait, what? You're joking. Of course that is not. I'm actually on with Limari on this one, said Kirsha. Same here. Even I'm a guy, I can recognize there's a feelings that there are some attraction between him and you. I mean, you guys know that it's forbidden for a Jedi to form attachment to anyone. Well, with most of the Order gone, who would say those rules are no longer applied to us? Wait, are you willing to give up on your Jedi ways entirely? I mean, presumably a lot of Jedi survivors have. But even so, so you're saying for the past 5 years there has not been any form of romance between you two? Not even once? Not really. I mean, even if he has feelings for me, he knows about me as being a Jedi, and since I told him about the Jedi Code, about it for forbidden to even have any form of relationships, even be married, or is strictly forbidden, I think maybe he has given up on that. I don't think so, said Jakul. What? Listen, I know for a fact that he doesn't have given up that opportunity to give a chance to be with you. What are you saying? I'm saying, listen to your heart. What is it to tell you? He's right, said Kirsha. You know, this might be also the best for the future for the Order of being rebuilt. What do you mean? Think about it. There were over 10,000 Jedi's during the Clone Wars, and now maybe just 100 or maybe a little less than that. If the Order have any chance of being rebuilt by any survivors, maybe some of the old Order's rules may have to be bended. And I had to tell you this because back in the Order, before even the Clone Wars even happened, I actually did read some of the histories of the Order. In fact, during the first purge, when the Order was almost completely gone, some of the survivors of the Masters and Knights, they actually bended the rule and they actually took more than just one apprentice. You're kidding? No, they actually did that. But that bit later, but eventually they stopped at that. But after they were, when the order had been rebuilt, and now did the same thing again. I mean, think about it. Without the first orders and the purge, it took a while for the order to be rebuilt, and when it was only a handful of survivors, it would have taken at least a while for the order being rebuilt back to the same number of people again. I think Limari had a point there, Latira. Think about it. If we are the future of the order to ever have a chance of being rebuilt, we need to ban some of the old orders. Are you saying that we had to be giving up all the orders, rules? No, not what we've been trying to say, but drastic chances made telling us that we might just simply do it. At least until the order has enough members again. It's like you may not remember Outbite Flight, right? Well, I heard about it, and from what I understand, it failed. There were a lot of a lot of Jedi's and non-Force sensitive people on board. And think about it. That ship had a main mission to restore, maybe to establish another part of the branch of the Order in a different galaxy. And this might be the chance for us to rebuild the Order. Maybe not to the same scale as the old Order was, but at least we have a better chance to survive. As not only as survivors, but as a whole. Your friend had a point, said Rimano when he went behind him. Is it true, Rimano, that you love me? As Rimano sat down and looked at at her friends and at her with a big sigh, yes, it is true. But when you told me about the rules, I decided to maybe not even approach you. But your friends had a point. Even though I never fully understand of the Order's lifestyle and not its history, but sometimes times of desperate needs take full actions to simply bend the rules. Yeah, but think about it. I don't know. I might give you the answer when we reach that world. I understand. And after a week, they finally arrived to the planet. But when he got there, it was not me there. At least, the planet was there, but it was a gas giant. What? This is supposed to be the safe haven? Said Dracul when he saw it. This had to be some sort of joke. Was that the survivor an actual Jedi? Latira asked. Yes, I remember him. But what if he was actually a Dark Jedi? It can't be. I trusted him. Wait, said Rimano. What is it? There is something in orbit around this gas giant. It's a small ship. What? Or at least, no, wait. Is a probe of some kind? A probe? Yeah, let me see. Yeah, it is actually a probe. Imperial? No. At least I don't think so. But it's sending a message to you. What? It isn't sending a message? Yes. Let me see if I can get it. Here we go. Listen attentionally. This is a message for any Jedi survivors. If you got here and thought this was a safe world for any survivors, you are mistaken. This is not a joke. This is not a ruse. This is a part of the way to understand if you were actually a Jedi. Well, here is the coordinates, or at least part of the coordinates that you may find the real safe haven. End of message. And then they receive a message, another of the coordinates. What? Is this some sort of crazy joke? Said Limari. I don't think so, said Kirsha. I mean, if any Jedi would even go at this far, they probably just want to make sure that there are survivors. So, can you decipher where the coordinates are? About that, the coordinates are need to be deciphered. I mean, SSN coordinates, but they were encrypted. It will take a while for me to even, well, it is for the computer to do that. So we have to stay here until then? Asked Dracul. Well, seems like it. I mean, probably safer here than out in other normal other rim territory. He's right. But how long would it take? That depends on how cryptic this message is, but it can take a few hours, maybe a day, a year. A year? Well, joking. But I must that this computer has an alarm to mention when this decrypted app is finished. After only a couple of hours, there was a small beeping sound. The message has been decrypted, or at least deciphered already. Okay, let's see. Well, there are a set of coordinates. That's as the message said that it would be. Let's see if I put them in a computer, in a database, and well, this might be a real surprise. What? What is it? Well, it's not in this region. Then where is it? Hard to believe, but we need to go to actually the deep core from this. The deep core? Why? I mean, that's across half the galaxy. And do we even have supplies and fuel for that? Let's see. The distance will take us about a week also, maybe a bit more, but we might still get some supplies and over on the way, but yeah, it will take us a while. What if there's another ruse? Said Dracul almost angrily. I mean, what if it's the same thing there? Another gas giant or another lifeless rock with another probe to take us to go to a different part of the galaxy and the same thing, we're going traveling back and forward, and there is no actual safe world. I can understand you're angry, but trust me, if I know what from Latira told me about the Jedi's, they are not like this. Well, I mean, if this is a complete secret. And I'm surprised that the Empire hadn't even found this yet. I mean, like I said, this part of the region is unexplored, and since there are no records, I mean, to be on the blunt here, said Dracul, what if that the Empire had explored this region and the artifact database of this part of the galaxy in their own database? Do you think they wouldn't just simply, announce it to the general public? Probably not, but you had a point. I mean, what if this is an Empire, an Imperial probe that looks like to be as an authentic Jedi probe? What if it's all trapped in the whole first place? But Latira said, we can't know for that for certain right now. We have no other choice. Of course we do. We leave this part of the galaxy and go somewhere else. But where? The Empire controls most of the galaxy. Well, I mean, if we go to a world that is probably well known, do you know how much risk that we go there, and there's a high risk that they have a big or even a small garrison of stormtroopers? You will easily be spotted and maybe even executed on the spot. Or even interrogated. You might have been forced to be revealing other survivors to encounter, and other being forced to be serving the Empire, or even being, worst case, even murdered. Is that a life you want to go for? Said Latira. You're probably right, but what should we do? Kirsha and Lamari said, we want to go to this next coordinates. Fine, let's go. So they went there. And on the way, they did in fact get some more supplies from fuel, food, and all they needed. When they went to the second location, right, we arrived, but what? Don't tell me there's another ruse. Well, there is actually something that I didn't expect. What? Well, there's a nebula. A quite large nebula, actually. According to the computer, it's about at least 5 light years across, and it's quite dense. And maybe there's a planet in there. Can the sensors not even detect any planet? I'm afraid not. The sensors can only detect only a few parts, at least a short distance in, but the gases are too dense, so it's hard to tell. We can't use launching a probe. Well, we could, if we had any. Wait, you're saying your ship doesn't even have any? Nope, not at all. I think there's a worth the risk to go in there, said Kershaw. I agreed, said Limari. Alright then, let's go in. But prepare yourself. This could be just another trap, said Tracol. Nova flew into the nebula after almost maybe just an hour or so. Just like another typical nebula. Gases everywhere, no thing. Wait, what? I actually see something on my sensors. What? They're just star. Wait. 1, 2, 4 planets. And this is actually the coordinates that they're supposed to be. Is any of the worlds habitable? Asked Latira. Let's see. Actually, there is. Let's go to their world. Is it safe though? Asked Rimano. I mean, if we go this far, why not? Okay, well, I have the ship prepared to leave as fast as we could, as fast as we can. Let's hope it didn't have to go that far. When they arrived to the planet, they laid in orbit, and they scanned, and this did in fact detect a large settlement, or settlements across one of the continents. They sent a signal down there, a Jedi code, and received a code and even visual confirmation this is actually the world they would be looking for. Some of the Jedi's that when they land on the planet were old friends to Latira, and she was happy to know there were at least about 100 people down there. There were at least 100. There were at least 1,000 people, but not all Jedi's. There are only around 50 Jedi's survivors on the planet, but the rest of it are actually families and other force sensitive that have been saved, rescued of themselves. And during this time, Latira had once again reconnected some old friends, but they stayed there for maybe just for about a week or so. Rimano, who is not force sensitive, thought maybe he wasn't welcome there or even would be accepted in, and he had decided to leave. And during this time when he thought about doing this, Latira was actually had rejoined some of her old friends and even other survivors. And then one day, Limari and Kirsha walked up to her and said, "So, are you two going to stay here?" "That's for sure. I mean, we're more safer here than anywhere else. I mean, this is the last part of the galaxy that the Empire would even consider to explore or even to track down us." "That might be true. What about you, though, Latira?" What about me? Are you going to stay here? Uh, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to travel along with Rimano, but the risk of being caught. You know, he loves you, right? Yeah. What your heart says about him. Deeply. Latira thought for a moment, and she realized she did love him. Go. Right now. Why? He is preparing the ship to leave. What? Are you serious? Yes, go. Latira ran all the way to the ship, and her friend was right. Rimano was actually preparing the ship for the departure. Is it really true you're leaving? I'm afraid so. I mean, I don't feel I won't be fit in here. Why not? It's because you're not a Jedi? No, it's just I'm not one of those people that can use the Force like you and others here. But, I mean, I love you. You do? Yes. Took long enough to realize it. So they decided to be together. But then, as Latira brought a new idea to the other survivors which also formed a small council like the High Council back in Coruscant, that she will go along with Rimano out in a galaxy. Why? To look for other survivors, of course, and bring them back here, and even to find some other Force sensitive that wants to escape the Empire and that can be safe. The others thought maybe this was a big risk, but this probably was the only way they can do. So during this time, Rimano and Latira had actually started dating and became a couple. They left this new world and they flew with Nova out in the galaxy, tracked down any other survivors they came across. And they managed to bring back at least a handful of survivors back, and even include other people of Force sensitive. But during this time, when they returned back to the safe world, they got married. Because during the time from when the planet, Rimano proposed to her, and she said yes. They actually, after a while, they learned that she was pregnant. And they decided maybe it was time for her to return back to the safe world where she could be more safe and raising their kids. Because they discovered that she was willing, that she in fact was having twins, a boy and a girl. So they decided to return. She stayed behind, but this time Kirsha went with Rimano for looking for other people. Rimano promised Latira that he will be back before the twins are born. And he did make this promise. And during the time when he was gone, Latira took care of her own new family, preparing for the twins, and even trained some other Force sensitive younglings. She became like a lightsaber instructor and even a master of her own. And just only a couple of months before the twins were supposed to be born, Rimano returned, and he had found at least a handful of other Force sensitive people that want to escape the Empire. And eventually they had their twins. Both were actually Force sensitive, and they were happy. Both Rimano and Latira remained on this world, but they happened for a few times when their kids was old enough. They left the planet to go out to find other survivors and maybe other Force sensitive people. But years later, they learned of the big news that the Empire had fallen. The Emperor was dead. And some years after that, they learned the news of Luke Skywalker had restarted his own Jedi Order, and he welcomed any survivors of the old order to join him. By this point, Latira was older, and she thought maybe it wasn't time for her to go there. But she encouraged any other younglings and even her own kids, if they want to join Luke Skywalker's new Jedi Order on Yavin 4, they're all allowed to do so. There were actually a few that did decide to leave, but not her own kids. They decided to remain in the safe world. And during this time, Rimano and Latira, they were just happy to have found their true love and even have their own family. And this is how Rimano and Latira found their true love, got a big family together. The end.